It's time to pull those belts tight, race fans. The front stretch is coming at you, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Now, here's Dan Taylor and Dirk Houston.
Well, good morning to you, race fans, and welcome to the front stretch, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs, online at joeskarting.com. Fast-paced white knuckle racing just across the river on 23rd Avenue in Council Bluffs. Get over to Joe's today. Do yourself right with a little indoor kart racing, and then head over to Quaker Steak and Lube to watch today's race at Talladega Super Speedway. Coverage is on NBC at noon with green flag set to wave at 1 o'clock. Get to joeskarting.com, karting with a K, for more information on pricing, rules, hours, all sorts of great information, joeskarting.com. Hey, we got a big show lined up for you today. We will talk about the race that was Dover and the results that came of it in the point standings. Then in turn number 2, DirtShirtsUSA.com CEO, CFO, CEA, GM, VP, P, all sorts of titles.
VP of shipping, VP of sales.
Human resources, customer service. He's a one-man band trying to help out local dirt racers. Joey Sparano is going to join us. We'll figure out what exactly DirtShirtsUSA.com is all about. Turn number 3, we've got an Earnhardt on the show. Bobby Dale Earnhardt is going to be in the number 66 Habco car in the Xfinity Series for MBM Motorsports at Kansas Speedway. Coming up this Saturday for the Kansas Lottery 300. And then in turn number 4, we will announce our final 5-week contest, which involves Quaker Steak and Lube gift cards. So we'll get you that information coming up in turn number 4. Plus, we'll preview today's race at Talladega, which I always love our preview for Talladega because it's survival and then mash the throttle. But we'll talk about that in turn number 4. All right, let's talk about what happened over at Dover International Speedway over the weekend. Last weekend, as Jimmy Johnson's good luck ran out. Well, I mean, he hasn't had any good luck this year. But even before the drop of the green flag.
His bad luck continued?
Thank you. That's a much better way of putting it. Even before the green flag dropped, something in the right front or something in the front suspension broke and ripped the splitter off the front of that car. So they said, to heck with it. Let's come to pit road. Let's fix it. And they actually went into the garage. Let's fix the splitter. Let's fix the suspension issue, and let's go back out there. And they went back out, ended up finishing, there were a lot of laps down. 13, 17 laps down by the end of the day. Had a competitive car once he got back out there, but he was way too far back.
Yeah, and it was kind of on the edge of NASCAR's garage policy for body damage.
Yeah.
But since the green flag hadn't technically been thrown yet, the race hasn't started, so it wasn't race damage, so they did allow them to go ahead and fix it. I think they came out about 10 laps down.
First 2 stages, I mean, you couldn't get any more of a fast car than the 4 of Kevin Harvick. I mean, he was, and frankly, he stunk up the first 2 stages of that race.
The whole Stewart Haas band was out there.
Yeah.
I mean, they were all rocking and rolling. The Fords were having a very good day for a long time.
And the 18, oddly, and this is a weird set of, I think, coincidences, that the 18 has an issue with his track bar adjuster. Something NASCAR gave drivers the ability to do in 2017 was to be able to manually adjust the track bar from within the car. And they've got a little display to show them where they're at. Because if any of us have tried to adjust something and then lost track of where you're at, it's a nightmare to try to figure out where you're at. And they had no idea how to adjust the car from there. They took some educated guesses at it, but they were really at a shot in the dark where how far he'd knocked that thing up or moved it back down and where it went, because eventually they were able to determine that it was moving, but the indicator quit working. And that really hindered their ability all day long.
Well, yeah, because it's not something that you hold the button down and count to 2 and it went so far. You need that indicator to tell you exactly, how many eighths or sixteenths of an inch. I don't know how the thing reads, but
I would imagine it's a lot like a cruise control. You push the plus button once, you go up 1 mile an hour. Push it again, 2 miles an hour, something similar to that, where when you push it, it's an incremental jump each time.
Then you wouldn't need the display.
But you would lose track of where it's at, plus, minus, whatever, is what I'm saying. Try running your cruise control at speed limit when you've lost track of where you're at on the miles per hour, and you don't have a speedometer or a readout for that.
Well, I just know if the other car, if I can't see him after 5 seconds, I'm going faster.
So not as clean cut for them on that, and I think that's what hindered the 18 most of the day. With 80 laps to go, the 4 comes to the pit road for regular changes, has to come back after they broke a left side tire valve, and they showed the replay a couple of times. Jackman dropped the jack. The rear tire changer wasn't done yet, but that's the signal for Kevin Harvick to go. He followed the game plan, he took off, and they didn't get one of the lug nuts must have come off and hit that valve stem, because he has to come right back around and go back down pit road and get that thing fixed.
Well, it could have been something that he hit it with a gun, possibly, if Kevin took off too quick. I mean, it was either going to be the gun or a lug nut hit it. But
just one of those freak things that, I think Martin Truex Jr. missed out on 3 or 4 races because of these really freak things. And a couple of times it was valve stems being broken off.
Well, a couple of years ago he had it happen at Kansas.
Yep.
And but the Jackman just watches the front tire changer, because the back tire changer should be done. So, he just did what he's been trained to do. So it's just one of them oddball things.
Now the big carnage begins. The 4's trying to make his way through the field. The 18's trying to make up his way, but the 10's leading. And with 12 to go, I pretty much gave the win to Eric Almirola. Had a fast car. He was way out in front. He was pulling away. He was doing everything he needed to do. But the 14 ends up having a loose rear wheel, running in the top 10, comes to pit road to get it fixed.
Well, they never determined if it was a loose rear wheel. That's what he thought, and that's why they came in. It could have been the suspension in the front failing, and that could have been what made the car all act up.
Because it was 2 different instances, and it was really odd. His car just got really loose coming out of one of the exits. And the car just broke loose, and he said, I got a loose wheel. And then they were able to slow it down and show how much the rear tire changer had to grind down on those bolts. And they assumed, and we know what assuming does, that it was because that right rear wheel or left rear wheel was loose, that it had stripped some of the threads, and it took some extra power to get that lug nut on. He comes out, says the car's great, I'm back up to speed, I'm going to start making ways through the field. 3 laps later, something in the right front suspension breaks, and he smacks the wall hard. Brings out the caution.
Well, a lot of times they can't turn, and they can't stop because of the damage to the car.
And he might have been unbuckling because there was a fire underneath the car, and they were trying to get him out of there. So he ends up bringing out the caution, which puts his teammate in a bad spot. And Eric Almirola didn't have a good restart. He ends up coming out of turn 2, gets a little bit loose, car dives to the inside, slams Brad Keselowski, bounces off Brad, hits the outside retaining wall. Brad spins, collects the 78, the 41, no, not the 41, the 78 and
the 88.
The 88, thank you. And just it destroys a bunch of cars. And a couple of cars, the 78 was having a bad day as it was, just didn't really have a fast car. But then it added insult to injury as far as those guys were concerned.
Well, he got up to where he was going to get salvage a decent finish out of the whole thing. It looked a lot like the race a year ago where they tore up a bunch of cars on the backstretch on a restart. It was a green-white checker restart where Jimmy Johnson got his last win at the June Dover race. It was almost identical to that. But the 10 got loose coming off a 2. He was clear up out of the groove, but he was trying to pass people. He didn't have any time to waste. He had to go to the front.
He had 4 fresh tires and not enough laps to get by all of these guys.
And nobody in front of him with fresh tires. So he had to hammer down, and he just bounced it off the wall with the right rear coming out of 2. And if Brad would have been another car length over, they wouldn't have hit.
Yeah.
But where Brad was, he caught him in the right rear of Brad's car and bounced off in the wall, turned Brad, and the rest is just kind of a demolition derby going to happen. It's just a wonder there weren't another dozen cars involved in it.
For what ended up being the final restart, the 9's the leader, chooses the outside line. The 11 is to his inside. The 9 has 4 old tires. The 11 has 2 fresher side tires and 2 older side tires. He came in and got 2 tires is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
And the 9 had a great restart and got away out of turn 2 and was able to start pulling away. And to my surprise, and I think to a lot of people's surprise, he started putting distance on the 11. The 11 should have been able to run him down, especially with 60-lap fresher right-side tires.
Yeah, but with 2 laps to go and, just getting up to speed is one thing. And when he pinned him down to the bottom, the track at that point had so much rubber on it. The tires weren't that big a deal. And if it would have been 10 or 12 laps to go, he'd have got him.
Yeah.
But
and
not in 2 laps.
They were trying to build some suspense as we were sitting under red and running laps under yellow as they were getting ready for the restart about the last time these 2 battled for the lead, and it didn't turn out very well for Chase Elliott. Ended up not turning out very well for Denny Hamlin as he didn't get the win either at Martinsville, coming up in a couple of weeks that time last year. But it was a clean restart. It was a clean race. It was a clean finish. And Chase Elliott ends up getting his second win on the year and a pretty emotional win for him as he punches his ticket to the next round.
Well, and then he stood there on the front straightaway and says, I don't have to worry about Talladega.
That is the story of race 1 in round 2 every year. It doesn't matter where they go. If race number 2 in round 2 is going to be Talladega or whatever round Talladega is in, the important thing is the race before that's going to be an incredibly crucial race for a lot of these guys because they don't want to worry about coming into Talladega because you never know what's going to happen today.
Yeah, the 18 and the 4 got a bunch of points. They've won a bunch of stages, got a bunch of race wins, so they've got all those bonus points. So, they can have a throwaway race and it's not that big a deal. But Harvick still come back and finished the top 10, if I'm not mistaken. So
6th, yep. And he had the high points day, actually. So Hamlin post-race made a little comment and said, it was nice to have us finish 1-2 without any controversy. I thought that was kind of funny. He made a little bit of a joke of what I'm sure was a rough time, a couple of weeks for him after he spun Elliott at Martinsville.
Yeah, there was tongue-in-cheek on that deal.
Like I mentioned, Elliott gets the win. Hamlin comes home second. Joey Logano third. Eric Jones fourth. And Kurt Busch rounds out your top 5. Harvick, Dillon, Kyle Busch, Stenhouse Jr., and Suarez rounds out your top 10. Jimmy Johnson and Clinton Bowyer were the worst of the guys you would expect to finish up front. Closer to up front, they finished 35th and 36th respectively. Martin Truex Jr. was another one of the playoffs drivers that had struggle. But Alex Bowman was the second worst playoff finisher. So Clinton Bowyer, playoff finisher, finished 35th. Bowman finished 28th, playoff driver, and Martin Truex Jr. was the next one, finishing 15th. Last car on the lead lap. Big leader of the day, Kevin Harvick, 286 laps. He gained 51 points on the day, one stage 1 and one stage 2, so he took home 2 bonus playoff points. And Chase Elliott ends up getting those 5 bonus playoff points with his win on the year. Now we go into the next round. Kevin Harvick, 68-point advantage as he goes into Talladega over the cut line. Kyle Busch has 63-point advantage. Here's where it gets really interesting. Martin Truex Jr. only a 36-point advantage over 8th place. Today is going to be a very, very critical race for him. And I think it's going to be a lot of what we talked about, survival.
Well, anybody from there on down, it's a big deal. They've got to I think you're going to see some of these guys maybe drift to the back a little bit and cruise around and maybe race the last 5 to 8 laps of a stage and maybe try and snag a few points. Unless they do just have a fantastic car when they'll want to keep it up front if they can do that. So qualifying will be big, and after that you're going to see a whole bunch of different strategies.
The bubble race has Kurt Busch, 21 points above. Brad Keselowski also 21 points above. Ryan Blaney, last car in as it is right now into the round of 3, the third round. He is 10 points above. Eric Almirola, Clinton Bowyer, both 10 points back. Bowyer went from 14 points above to 10 points back with that one issue that they had. He was having a great day, a great points day, and he had a competitive car. It looked like he could have really battled for the win had they had the right adjustment on the final pit stop, but ends up going 10 points down.
Yeah, I mean, if it was a loose wheel and that's what caused all the grief, and then obviously the parts failure in the front, whatever that happened to be. But he looked like he had a solid top 4 or 5 car. Yeah. And he did. But I mean, all the Stewart House cars were top 10 cars. They could have very easily had another one of those days. They've had several of them this year. I mean, they look like they could have possibly put 4 cars in the top 5.
Yeah, absolutely. Kyle Larson in 11th is 12 points behind Alex Bowman. He's already a must-win scenario. Although not mathematically, he is 34 points ahead. And going into Talladega today, if a couple of the top 5 are all collected in a wreck and he ends up running top 5, he could swing that in the other direction and gain a lot of points. But he needs Larson, Bowyer, Almirola, Blaney, and Keselowski to have bad days.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Let's take a break. We'll come back. Joey Sparano, CEO of DirtShirtsUSA.com, will join us. He's got a really awesome shirt that I'm really excited to get my hands on. It's a Bob Kaziski exclusive shirt. He's going to come in today, coming up in turn number 2, and he's going to talk about that. Bobby Dale Earnhardt Jr. still around the corner, and we'll announce our final 5-week contest in turn number 4. A lot of show left to go. Thanks for joining us on the front stretch. We'll be back.
Every race car driver has run into the same problem. It's well past normal parts store closing hours, but you need that one to finish your car. The guys who brought you White Knuckle Racing by the River bring you Joe's Karting Racing Parts and Tire Store. Open until 10 p.m. Monday to Thursday and open until 11 p.m. on Friday and Saturday. A parts store that fits your after-hours schedule, and you can turn a few laps at Joe's Karting while you're waiting for your part to get pulled from their warehouse. joeskarting.com for more information.
This week's Young Gun on the front stretch is 19-year-old second-generation driver Amber Cook. Amber's following in the footsteps of her father, old Ironhead Dave Cook. Since she was a little girl, Amber remembers always being at the track and chomping at the bit to get behind the wheel. Dad finally gave in and got her a kart to share with her sister. In the next season, she got a kart of her own, which she continues to drive even while pulling double duty in her Sport Modified. This year, Amber was able to finish runner-up at Mini E and Little Sunset in the 206 kart class. As she wraps up her second season in a Sport Mod, which she's been running weekly at Eagle Raceway while hitting specials throughout the area, Amber really enjoys her time in the pits with her role model and dad, but she has her eyes set on that first A feature win and eventual track championship. Amber's put the Spring Valley home, DirtDrivers.com C&L Automotive number 21 Sport Mod away for the winner, but she has plans to race her kart at the Turkey Chase in November. Thanks to I-80 Speedway for their support of this week's Young Gun, Amber Cook on the front stretch.
This fall, experience the suspense as heroes clash metal to metal with heartbreak. Get lost in a drama without the predictable ending. No sappy romance, no special effects. Just one adrenaline-filled day where pure speed drives the plot. Coming soon to a track near you. The Hollywood Casino 400 Playoff Elimination Race, only at Kansas Speedway, October 21st. Tickets at kansasspeedway.com. Rated U for unexpected.
We're hooked up in turn 2 and still showing the green flag on the front stretch.
Welcome back to the front stretch, rolling into turn number 2, and it's time to sit down with a brand new company just hitting the interwebs about a month and a half ago. Joey Sparano of DirtShirtsUSA.com joining us, former crew chief for Andrew Koziski, huge fan of racing, from dirt track to NASCAR. Not so much with NASCAR lately. It's gone a little awry in your book.
Oh, it is what it is.
It is what it is. Everything goes down a bad path. Every sport's had its bad days.
I'm sure he's written a letter to the people at B in Daytona.
Have you written to those guys?
Not necessarily to those guys, but you got to get your opinion out there somewhere. Yeah. But
Facebook especially.
Mm-hmm. Facebook and on the front stretch page, I talk a lot on that. But
and I've told you before, I do enjoy our back and forth.
Yeah, we go back and forth.
And the thing I love about you, and Dirk does it to me too, you guys are not afraid to call me on any kind of error that I may type. And I do enjoy our conversations on the show.
Well, it's also Joey and I have an extensive background in the sport where you're relatively new.
Some people sit there and they're like, gosh, I just don't like how Dirk, acts like he knows it all. And I'm like, yeah, but he does. I mean, that's actually what's making you mad, is that you could say, oh, well, so-and-so didn't win, but he actually did. And you're actually wrong. That's what's making you mad. Not that Dirk thinks that he knows it all. It's because he actually does.
Well, I usually don't, get too behind my opinion unless I know what I'm talking about. And normally I don't open my mouth unless I know what I'm talking about. Joey's the same way.
Yeah. I mean, there's stuff that you know stuff about, and there's other stuff that you don't. You just kind of leave that alone. But
when somebody throws a cookie recipe out there, I leave it alone. I take a bite, and if I like it, I'll eat it, and if I don't, I won't. But I'm not going to, too much sugar, too much salt. No.
It went down just fine. Well, we're talking about DirtShirtsUSA.com, new website you've launched, and I kind of wanted to get you into just talk about the inspiration behind it. What started this whole thing?
Well, it's kind of two different sides of it: the consumer side and the sales side of it. And I've kind of been on both sides of it. I thought of the problem that I had of, there's a few shirts I wanted to order, like Dennis Erb Jr. was one that I wanted to order, and I went to his site to order it, and there was no way of just paying online. And then on the sales side of things, I've sold shirts before, and I've always thought, man, if I could just get these online for an easy click, that's the way I need to go. Well, I kind of put the two together and thought, man, a lot of the local and regional racers, they don't have the means necessary to have online sales. So I thought, why don't I create a community site for everybody to sell their stuff on?
So if I have a race team and I've got shirts that I want to sell, can I join your site? There'd probably be a fee, and then I can offer my merchandise?
Well, there's no fee just to have your shirts on the site. It's free just to post your shirts, and what I do is I take a small fee on every one we sell.
Okay.
Oh, it's not like a franchise fee or anything.
Yeah. It's one of those things where I'm only going to make money if you make money.
So there's no upfront fees.
No upfront fees. I'm doing this solely for the racers. I'm trying to help them out. I got the time now, and it's more on the lines of I want to help racers. Because when they do order shirts, they put in a large order, and it's a lot of money, and for them to just sit on shirts, that's the hard thing. For racers is if they have to order 200 shirts, if they got to sit on 100 of them, that's a lot of money to sit on. So I'm just trying to open it up to another market for them to sell their stuff.
This maybe with a paint scheme or something like that. You see the Bobby Pierces, with all the different paint schemes and stuff like that. He's probably got fans in California that aren't probably going to see him at a racetrack, but maybe once a year if he's out in Arizona or something, or at Vegas. And now they can jump on your site and order his merchandise.
Well, the thing about like Bobby Pierce's website, he's got his own store. He's got his own. His mom handles all the merchandise for him. Between online sales and souvenir sales at the track and stuff. I'm looking for more, your local racer. To me, it doesn't matter if you race a sprint car or a late model or a modified, a hobby stock, a sport comp. If you got shirts that you want to sell, let's try to sell them. It's to me, I'm more for the local average racer that doesn't have the means necessary to have a whole online store just to themselves.
Yeah, Dirk brings up a good point. That was kind of one of them that when I first read it, I thought, well, this would be a good way for if the National Touring Series comes through, you could buy a bulk of their shirts and then offer them later on down the line. Is that something that you think you would get into? Is that one of your business points, or is that probably not going to be an area you want to dive into?
That's not really what I'm more into. I don't actually buy the shirts up front from the guys. Mm-hmm. It's kind of, I like to call it a consignment type store. It doesn't really work like that, but it's more, that's a general way of looking at it is, I'm just giving you a place to sell your shirts, and then, once we sell them, I just take a small fee out of it,
Yep.
just enough to keep the site running on its own, and
Mm-hmm. Right off the website, Andrew Koziski, Bill Layton Jr., Brian Koziski, Charlie McKenna, Cody Ledger, Corey Zeitner, Jack Dover, and Ryan Jenkins. But one of them I really like, and I'm really, really excited about this because, like you mentioned earlier in it, Dirk, I haven't been around the sport for very long. I've been a fan of NASCAR since 2000. My first dirt race was 2012. I've never had the opportunity to buy a Bob Koziski shirt, and now I've got one.
Well, I when doing this whole process, I thought if I could put 3 or 4, what I like to call them exclusive shirts out, something that's exclusive only to my site, I wanted to do that, just kind of bring something new to everything. And I thought, man, who would be a shirt that nobody had, or, and I thought, and I've been friends with the Koziski family for my entire life, literally my entire life. I've been friends with them. And I've when I was kids, I had Joe shirts, I had Steve shirts. I've had all these shirts, and I thought, man, I've never had a Bob Koziski shirt, and I don't think anybody has a Bob Koziski shirt. I'm not even sure if they did shirts back in the 60s and 70s.
That's a good point.
Well, they did, but they weren't near what they are now. Most of them might have had a very elementary picture of a car with a name on it. They weren't anywhere near what they are now.
And I teamed up with R&R Racewear out of St. Louis. They're a company I've used a few different times on a few different things, and they're a real good company to work with. And that's kind of what the feel I when we talked about it is, kind of give that vibe from that era of the late 60s, early 70s on a shirt, and got some pictures together, and we came up with the design, and I think it's a pretty cool design, and we're offering them. They start at $15, so it's not an expensive shirt. And with my website, every item on there, it's single item shipping's $5. So it's really an inexpensive way to get to me a really cool shirt.
It is a really cool shirt. I love the design. First off, the color, and then it's got this almost Dukes of Hazzard look to it with the way the car is going across the front of the shirt.
It's a 1969 Chevelle, and to me, looking at the car, it's a really cool car from that era. Mm-hmm. And Bob, he won a lot of the track championships.
Gazillion races with that car.
Yeah, and the late 60s, early 70s, there at Sunset, he won a lot in a lot of the track championships. And and really, this is going to be the 50th anniversary of,
Oh, that's a good point.
Coming up. So, I kind of threw all these ideas together, and I thought, man, this is going to be something really cool. And I talked to Bob about it, and he thought it was a good idea. And what we're going to do is we're going to donate a portion of every sale to the National Dirt Late Model Hall of Fame in Florence, Kentucky. And just it's not about being a money maker. It's more of just about kind of getting something new out there, and you can getting the word of my new site out.
Well, it's kind of refreshing because, I don't know, this year I've just seemed to, in the last year and a half, I've gotten a little down on the industry because it seems to be any way that we can find a way to charge drivers and fans a little bit more, let's find that way. And I think that when I saw your shirt come across, it's $15, tax included, and $5 for shipping and handling. $20 for a shirt that's very limited edition. It's an old school shirt. It's a great look. That doesn't feel like I'm getting taken.
And if you order more than one shirt, is there a cut in the shipping? You order 3 shirts or something, or is it going to be $15 to ship 3 shirts?
What my shipping is $5 for one item. For 2 items, it's $7, and 3 or more, it's $10. So you could order 10 things, and it's going to be $10.
There you
awesome.
go. Yeah, that's real. I mean, I've done some shirt stuff at some of the sites, and a lot of them are $5 or $6 for the first shirt and $1 for every shirt thereafter. And some of the sites are $5 a shirt or $6 a shirt, and they don't care if you order 10. You order 10 shirts, you're going to pay $50 or $60 in shipping, and you talk about rip off.
Yeah. And DirtShirtsUSA.com again is the website. DirtShirtsUSA.com. If you scroll down, you'll see the Bob Kaziski shirts. It doesn't just come in a regular white T-shirt. There's several different colors and there's several different designs of the actual T-shirt itself.
Well, we got it's a heather navy and a heather sapphire shirt. When I look at shirts, I think, man, everybody's got a gray shirt, everybody's got a black shirt. Let's throw some different colors and really with the design, I left it up to the artists, and I think they knocked it out of the park on the colors and then the scheme of the whole thing.
Okay, if I'm the little racer from Eagle or David City or McCool or wherever, and I'm jumping on your website going, maybe this will be a good deal to peddle my shirt, how does the shipping and everything go from there? I mean, do I ship the shirts to you and you warehouse them for me, or do they pay to ship them? How's that work?
Well, with the Omaha drivers, there's a lot of Omaha drivers that I got on the site, and I handle all the shipping for them. So I warehousing isn't a great word because it's not like I have a warehouse, but
No, it's okay. We have a prize vault. You can have a warehouse.
Okay. It's a cardboard box, but it's our prize vault.
Thanks, Dirk. Now someone's gonna break into our vault.
Yeah, what are they gonna do? Go home.
It is literally a Staples box that 10 reams of paper came in. I took it from our office supplies here, and I threw our stuff in it, and I wrote on the side of it, front stretch prize vault. So you have a warehouse, my friend.
I got a huge warehouse.
But it does have alarms. We've got video surveillance.
Yep. That's actually true. There is video surveillance of the building. Yeah. But anyways.
but with the Omaha guys, I'm handling all the shipping because a lot of these guys, they have regular jobs. They work 8 to 5, and they work on their race cars and they have their family stuff. It's hard for them to ship things every day. That's kind of one of the conveniences I'm trying to give these guys. Other guys from out of town, I got a kind of a different way set up where they can handle the shipping. I take less of a percentage. I give them the shipping fee. I'm to the point where this is to help the racers. This isn't something I'm gonna make $1 million on or retire off of. It's just something that I think could really help the racers on trying to sell their stuff.
Never say never, because I just saw a story last night of a lady in Arizona who made $50,000 a year selling tumbleweeds.
Well.
There was people that made millions of dollars selling pet rocks.
Yeah.
So tumbleweeds at least is something that's going to move. The wind's going to blow it. The wind wouldn't blow that rock that was sitting there.
DirtShirtsUSA.com. You can email them, dirtshirtsusa@gmail.com. Last minute opportunities. Those Bob Kaziski retro t-shirts are available until the end of today. They can order them. They must be pre-ordered, and then you're going to order as many as you've got orders for.
Well, the pre-order purchase, it basically just guarantees that I'm going to have the size and the color that you want. Well, there's going to be a limited number of extras that's going to be out there, but the safe thing to do is if you really want one, order it now. I mean, starting tomorrow, they're going to go into production and you know, they're going to get shipped to me, and then I'm going to get them shipped right out. You know, we're saying the estimated shipping date's going to be October 31.
Okay.
But
hey, that's just in time. If you're free, we'd love to get you to come down to the Homestead party, and you can set up a table right next to us and sell some extra shirts.
That's always a possibility.
You're welcome to come down.
Cool.
I'd love to get some shirts. I'm going to order my Bob Kaczynski shirt today. I got to do it when I get off the show. But yeah, that's a really cool shirt and a great idea. Love having you on the show. You're always welcome to come back. If you guys get new designs, make sure to let me know and you'll come on the show and we'll talk about them.
Sure. Website does debit cards, credit cards, all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah, that's the easy way about my site. About 4 clicks and you know it's coming your way. And, you know, there's a lot of other shirts on there right now just besides the Bob Kaczynski shirt. And, you know, go ahead and order.
I'm seeing some 2016 and 2017 Jack Dover T-shirts available for $10 and $12. 2017 versions of Ryan Jenkins's, is that his sport mod? That would have been his modified, right?
Yeah. And kind of what we got going right now is I'm giving the guys an opportunity of selling what they got left because a lot of these guys want to get new stuff. You know, Dover, he's got his new stuff. He's finishing up racing this month, and hopefully we can get his new shirts online after he gets done racing this year.
I love this Chargin' Charlie design too.
Yeah, I talked to Charlie McKenna there on the phone the other night for about 15 minutes, and he's one of those guys. He's over in Iowa that he's going to be shipping them directly to you. Mm-hmm. But having him on the site, and I'm looking to get as many guys. If I can get 100 guys on the site, that's going to be the ideal thing. Joey
Sparano of DirtShirtsUSA.com. Don't forget that S, DirtShirtsUSA.com. You can also find him on Facebook, on the website. Email him, DirtShirtsUSA@gmail.com for more information. Don't forget to place your Bob Kaczynski t-shirt before the end of today so that you can have it ready, and maybe you can pick it up at the Homestead party from him, or he'll ship it right to your house. Thanks a lot, Joey, for coming in. Like I said, you've got an open mic. Whenever you want to come in, you're welcome to join us.
Glad to be here.
We'll be back in turn number 3. Bobby Dale Earnhardt. You're leading up Bobby Dale Earnhardt.
Wow.
Yeah. How's that?
That's pretty big.
We'll see how I'm going to ask him how that's going. He's going to be excited about following you. I think he's going to be excited about this. We'll talk to him next, coming up at turn number 3 on the front stretch.
Finding a home can be the most important decision in your life. It's the simple factors of neighborhood, garage size, the school district, and commute that get overlooked by most realtors. Those are the aspects that Jim Blazina has been focusing on since 1988. From rental properties to your forever home, the Racing Realtor will work hard to get you exactly what you're looking for, and he can help list your home for a speedy sale. Contact Jim Blazina today, 402-980-8400, or jblazina@npdodge.com.
We all have that coworker that runs their mouth off at how great they are. They shot a 5 under par, 95-mile-an-hour fastball, bench press 375, brah. Wouldn't you love to shut them up by schooling them at Joe's Karting? Council Bluffs' premier indoor karting track, professionally designed so each corner is your opportunity to embarrass your coworker. Call Buddy for your next company outing at 712-256-5278. Joe's Karting, white knuckle racing just across the river on 23rd Avenue next to AMC 17.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Quaker Steak and Lube is the official watering hole for the front stretch and the best place to catch all the NASCAR action today. Open at 11 a.m. with delivery available to Council Bluffs.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Feather the brake and get back to the gas. Dan and Dirk are headed into turn 3 on the front stretch.
Welcome back to the front stretch. Heading into turn number 3, brought to you by Kansas Speedway. Tickets for the Hollywood Casino 400 Sunday, October 21st are available now at 866-460-RACE or at kansasspeedway.com. And while you're there, you can also go tickets to the Xfinity Series race for the Kansas Lottery and the ARCA Series race, the Menards race, sponsored by Menards, on Friday night, which our friend Zach Ralston is going to be racing in on Friday night. Talking to us now is the guy who's going to be at Kansas Speedway, Bobby Dale Earnhardt. How are you doing, bud?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you guys?
Enjoying another beautiful day, getting to talk about racing. Appreciate you coming on the show. So we wanted to talk to you today because you're going to be heading to Kansas Speedway with MBM Motorsports, racing in the Xfinity Series. Can you talk about how that ride came about and what you're looking at having happen?
We've been trying to plan this one for all year, of course, because me and my business partner, John Shear, we're at the Earnhardt Shear Racing. We've been working together past 2-3 years, and we got Kansas last year, and I knew Kansas would be one I'd be running again this year because he's out from Kansas. And I went up there and I run some dirt races up in Kansas, and I'm dirt modified, and met a lot of people up there, and got a lot of people interested in it. And one company in particular, Habco, they come on board and is our main sponsor, our primary sponsor this weekend, and they helped out a lot and getting this racetrack, and they do it without them. And again, I had Copeland Insurance on the hood last year, and they come back on this year, so they're pretty loyal with us. So I mean, it's just different sponsors come together, and a couple of them come together last minute. So it's one of them things. You got to find sponsorship to make it happen, and then without these people coming on and believing in us and supporting us, we wouldn't be able to come out here and do that.
Well, it also gets them exposed to the sport where they're not having to fork out, a big 6-digit number to, get a quarter panel on a cup car or something like that. If they come in with, the smaller budget teams, they can use a smaller budget to get in.
Oh yeah, definitely. And just going out there and getting experience and staying out of trouble. And who knows, maybe we come out there with a good finish, like a top 20 maybe. I mean, top 20 is a good finish for a team like MBM, and I mean, like you said, they're a low budget, and it'd be nice to go out there and win a race, but the expectations financially is just unreal between a team like MBM. Those guys work their tail off night and day, from 7 in the morning up until 3 or 4 o'clock next morning, or all night if they have to, just to get the cars ready to go to the track. And I mean, teams like that are more deserving to come out of places with good finishes than a lot of the other big teams.
Mm-hmm. Well, we've talked.
I mean, the big teams, they work their tails off too, but they also can go home at 5 o'clock and know their cars are going to be ready.
Yeah, they've got the manpower. We've become pretty good friends with the people up at Starcom, where like Jeffrey, drove the 500 for them, and we interviewed them at their first race last year at Kansas, and we know exactly what you're talking about when you come to the smaller teams and budget considerations, because we've talked a couple times on our show how we were standing down in their pit box at the Kansas race in May, and they had 4 sets of scuffs in their pit box, and the pit box right next to them had 9 sets of stickers.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and that right there is a difference of $5,000-$10,000 and $50,000 to $100,000. Or not, I don't know about that. About $50,000 for 9 sets of stickers.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I mean, I don't want to take anything from the big teams. The big teams are doing an awesome job to stay where they're at, and they do put a lot of work in, a lot of engineering time and stuff like that to be where they're at. But they also have a lot of financial backing that a lot of these little teams don't have. So,
with all the odds stacked against you, you talk about, and again, we don't want to make it sound bad. This is just the facts of life. It's a lower funded team. You haven't had a lot of experience. I think your last race in the Xfinity Series was a year ago, so that's a lot of seat time that you missed out on. Why come back and do it again?
I don't know. Just it's fun. I love it. I love doing it. And these sponsors want to see me in the car, and I mean, I want to go out there and race. Mm-hmm. It's in my blood. And
that's an understatement of the interview.
I could go out there and we could have a really, really good finish and catch somebody's eye that's wanting to come on and put me in a car full time next year. Mm-hmm. We're right now working on getting 2 more of the last 3 races. We're trying to get to Texas and Homestead, and we're working on other stuff that will hopefully put me in a car for the full season next year. It's just a matter of if somebody will come on board and say, hey, let's do it.
Yeah,
and give us some sponsor money to throw at it.
So you're racing down to Kansas for MBM Motorsports in the number 66 Habco car. Do you have an idea of what you're shooting for as far as position when that checkered flag waves?
Well, I mean, realistically, a top 25 would be really, really awesome. I mean, a top 20 would be even better. Even a top 30 would be really good for not being in the seat for a year.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, Carl's is putting me in one of their best cars with the best equipment that he's got. I think Timmy Hill went out and qualified second round with it. So, I mean, It's a good car. It's just, like you said, seat time and getting used to the track. And I think last time I went out there and qualified 40th and ended up 34th.
Wow.
I mean, to a lot of people, that's not that great. But for my first time on that track, I was happy. I didn't tear the car up, and it would come home in one piece, and I finished ahead of where I started, which there wasn't much farther below 40 that I could finish. I have learned something.
Don't cut yourself short, brother.
If you finish 40, if you qualify 40th, there's only one way to go.
Right. And you did it. You did it, though.
Well,
yeah, I know, right?
I've been telling people, I mean, I'm almost 60 years old, so I got some time on you. And I've been telling people since I've really been involved in racing since the late 80s, if it was easy, everybody'd be doing it. It's not an easy sport.
Yeah.
You know, it's a million people have tried. You know, the list of people that have won a cup race is actually relatively small. You know, that's why it's impressive when you see people win. You know, like Brad won 3 races in a row earlier this year. You know, that people just don't know how tough that really is to do.
Oh yeah, there's a lot more to it than a lot of people think. And I found out just how in shape you need to be to go out there and run races like at Kansas. We went out there and we forgot to hook up my helmet hose. And I take for granted how much that hose helps, because I've run. Until I got to the Xfinity series, I never had a hose. And I ran in Richmond, and it was a world of difference. And then I went to Kansas, and we forgot to hook it up, and I ran the whole race of Kansas without it. And I climbed out of that car and thought I was going to fall over. I was like, wow, it's an eye-opener.
Is there anything you could take from your modified racing and apply it to a racetrack like Kansas, or are they just way too different?
Well, car control. I mean, when you're on dirt, you learn how to feather the throttle and get through the corners, because you're pretty much sideways. So you can take stuff like that, and if you was to get out of control on a track, that's why you see a lot of these guys who come up and have save a lot more cars than guys who come up and run asphalt, because they're used to that throttle, feathering the throttle and keeping the car out of the wall sideways.
Mm-hmm.
Just stuff like that, little things, nothing big, nothing major.
Clint Boyer had 2 big saves at Dover last week that where, you know, they were accidents that just didn't happen, but that was his dirt racing background, I think, that saved him. And you see Kyle Larson doing it on a pretty regular basis. And
Kyle Larson's a wheel man.
Yeah, and no doubt about
absolutely.
that. Bobby Earnhardt joining us on the show. He's going to be down at Kansas in the number 66 Habco MBM Motorsports car. You'll see him in the Kansas Lottery 300 on Saturday. Get your tickets in advance, kansasspeedway.com or 866-460-RACE. Bobby, man, I really appreciate you coming on the show. We're going to try to track you down when we're down there next weekend and see if we can't say hi real quick.
No problem, bud. I can't wait to see you there.
Have a good night.
All right, we'll be there. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you.
We're going to take a break. We'll come back at turn number 4. We have our final 5-week contest to announce. Plus, we're going to try to get to a couple of the news and notes we did in turn number 1. And then that's going to do it for today's show. We're going to take a break. We'll be back in turn number 4 on the front stretch.
This fall, experience the suspense as heroes clash metal to metal with heartbreak. Get lost in a drama without the predictable ending. No sappy romance, no special effects. Just one adrenaline-filled day where pure speed drives the plot. Coming soon to a track near you. The Hollywood Casino 400 Playoff Elimination Race, only at Kansas Speedway, October 21st. Tickets at kansasspeedway.com. Rated U for unexpected.
Hey, look at that. You're sitting on your couch playing Halo, Madden, or NASCAR while your friends are at Joe's Karting. Each lap is an adrenaline-filled, heart-pumping, white-knuckle experience that you can only get at the Metro's largest indoor karting track. Eco-friendly Honda engines rip you around the professionally designed road course at breakneck speeds. Can you reach the 14-second lap bracket? There's only one way to find out. Put the controller down and get to Joe's Karting, 23rd Avenue in Council Bluffs next to Quaker Steak and Lube.
It's checkers or wreckers as we enter turn 4 on the front stretch, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs.
Welcome back to the front stretch. Rolling into turn number 4. Just about ready to wrap this baby up. Brought to you by Quaker Steak and Lube, the official watering hole of the front stretch. Get over to the Lube today for all of your green flag action at Talladega Super Speedway. The coverage is on NBC starting at noon with the green flag waving at 1 o'clock. You can catch all the action on the big screens at Quaker Steak and Lube, and that also happens to be the home of our annual Homestead Viewing Party, where we will crown a champion for our 2018 Pick'ems contest, brought to you by Rick Havenridge of Wealth Partners, and we will get the winner of our final 5-week contest.
Well, the winner of the final 5-week contest will have, isn't that going to end up before the Homestead race?
Yeah, that'll end it. It'll end at Phoenix, and you'll be able to use that. If that is you, you'll be able to use the $100 gift card anytime, but we would love to have you come over to the Homestead Viewing Party and use it there.
Yeah, I would love them to come over and use it on my tab.
Get over to Quaker Steak and Lube today for all the green flag action for today's race at Talladega. And again, it's on NBC and at noon with green flag waving at 1 o'clock. So don't forget to get your picks in on time. And today we're going to announce the Quaker Steak and Lube 5-week contest. It's our final 5-week contest of the year. As we do every year, we wrap it up with the Quaker Steak and Lube. And the big prize, it's a winner. Well, it used to be a winner-take-all, but we've added a little bit more to the prize pool. So the winner's going to get a $100 gift card to the Quaker Steak and Lube in Council Bluffs. 2nd through 5th are all going to get a extra pick in our prize vault. You heard us talk about that high-security Fort Knox version of our prize vault over in Turn 2.
Well, is it an extra pick or just a pick? Because they might not have another pick.
Well, they'll get if they're in the season-long contest, they'll get another pick. If they're not a part of the season-long contest, then they'll get a pick. Great thing to happen there. That's going to be 2nd through 5th. Must be 18 years of age and a legal U.S. resident. You must sign up before today's green flag action on NASCARPoolsOnline.com. So the coverage is at noon and the green flag waves at 1. So all picks are due by noon today, and you must have your pick in and you must be signed up before noon today at NASCARPoolsOnline.com. The easiest way to do it, send us an email, frontstretchradio@gmail.com. I'll send you the login and information and all that stuff. The contest runs from today's race at Talladega and wraps up at Phoenix International Raceway. Dirk, here's an important one. I added this. All ties will now be broken by most wins, most top 3s, most top 5s, most top 10s, and best overall picks.
So we're up to 5 tiebreakers thanks to the last contest. But it took us, 4 years to have an issue.
Yep.
And
leave it to a Houston to do that to me.
Hey.
So if you want to get signed up, got to say a big thank you to Rick Havenridge of Wealth Partners, the presenting sponsor for all of our Pick'ems contest. Wealth Partners is a financial advisory practice of Ameriprise Services Incorporated. You can visit them online, truewealthpartners.com, or go right to Rick's website, rickhavenridgeadvice.com, for all your financial advice. rickhavenridgeadvice.com for more information on that. And again, thank you so much to Rick Havenridge. Because of him, we're able to offer the Pick'ems contest for free. And again, get your entries in before noon today for today's race. Let's talk real briefly about today's race, and then I want to try to take up some more time with some of the news and notes that have happened around the world of NASCAR. When you break down Talladega, there's a couple of different scenarios. Guys that have fast cars and are up front are going to try to stay up front. As soon as they get shuffled out of it and they feel like they need to protect the points they have, they're going to move to the back and they're going to run in a group. That's as far as I'm concerned. The big one may or may not happen. It's been a pretty consistent thing years past, but as of the last 5 years, we've actually had Talladega races where the big one doesn't happen. These cars are incredibly expensive. There's a lot on the line, and so these guys play a little bit safe, and we run in a pack 2-3 wide, but nobody steps out of line and makes a real big risky move and causes the big one. So it's not a guarantee that we're going to have the big one today.
Well, this is one deal where the stage racing, where they get the cautions and they get that tire change in there that is really needed sometimes, especially at this track, because some of the guys will try and go with just rights or just lefts, and they'll be out there with some worn tires and dancing around. But when they come in for that stage, they can come in and grab 4 fresh ones, 4 stickers, and that has really saved some of the carnage at the plate tracks. So.
And entering pit road is a lot about communication. The driver sticking his hand out the window and letting the other drivers around him know, and also the spotters up on the tower letting everybody know, hey, we're pitting, because entering pit road speed and on-track speed is, 50, 70 miles an hour different.
Oh, it's huge. I mean, if when the guy comes down to the yellow stripe and is getting ready to enter the pits and downshifting and everything, if you don't know he's going to the pits, you might be coming up on him, like you say, 75 to 100 mile an hour faster. Mm-hmm. And we've seen it happen.
We've seen it happen at tracks other than Talladega.
Yeah, but
it just happened a couple of weeks ago at Darlington.
The speed differences usually aren't quite this big because at Darlington you're basically doing your braking and everything through the turn. Where here you're on a straight part of the track. But, the spotters are so big on that, and the hand communications from the drivers. They'll stick a hand out the window. They'll wave a hand up inside the car through the back window, and you got to be aware, Yep,
you got to have your head on a swivel, and the spotters really got to know what's going on, too. That's really critical for them today. All right, once again, coverage is on NBC at noon, green flag at wave, all picks, and contestant registration is due by noon today. You can email us, frontstretchradio@gmail.com, to get in on the Quaker Steak and Lube 5-week contest. And again, thank you to Quaker Steak and Lube for stepping up and helping us with our final 5-week contest.
Yep, they take good care of us.
Huge news coming out of NASCAR this weekend. And I think most people in the industry are saying about the same thing, but they're not surprised why it happened, but that it's actually happened. And I'm referring to Jimmy Johnson and Chad Knaus. The news coming out of Hendrick Motorsports that those two will be splitting up at the end of the 2018 season.
Well, it's been talked about for several years, but now it's finally happening. I think
I kind of felt at this point that there'd been so much rumors of it happening and it never happened that it wasn't going to happen. These two were going to end their careers together, or at least Jimmy was going to retire with having only Chad Knaus as his crew chief in the Cup Series.
And that could still happen.
Yeah.
He's got a couple races left. He gets to sitting down over the win, or he just might go ahead and walk away. You never know. It's happened before.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
But he's coming back.
I can't imagine that lightning striking twice. I think Jimmy Johnson's in the 48 for at least the 2019 season. He has a contract with Hendrick Motorsports through 2020. Now, that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean everything. It means that Jeff Gordon had a contract with Hendrick Motorsports, and he retired earlier. He just fulfilled his sponsor obligations while he wasn't a driver, and he still helps out at the team every once in a while. Jimmy could transition into that kind of a role, but I don't think that's Jimmy's MO. I think he really wants to win another championship and be the sole owner of 8 NASCAR Cup Series championships.
Well, I think he'd like that. That's probably his biggest drive. Mm-hmm. But this year has shown that there's been very limited number of races where he's been competitive.
Yeah.
If nothing more, he's literally now gone over a year without winning a race, and that's got to be eating at him because that's never happened in his career before.
Yep.
He's going to be up on the wheel for these last, 6 races left. Mm-hmm. And, I wouldn't be surprised to see him win this week, even though Fords are going to be dominant again. Fords have been dominant on the restrictor plate tracks, for a couple of years now. Yep. So they're going to be up front. It was a Chevy that won Daytona, with Austin Dillon. Mm-hmm. So you're going to see him running hard.
And it's not like these guys are done. It's not like Jimmy's going to be retiring at the end of the year. He's got a new crew chief that's going to be coming up, and it's going to be Kevin Mendering is going to be coming up from the Junior Motorsports Xfinity Series operation, and he's going to be taking over in 2019 at Daytona for the 48 team. Chad Knaus moving over to the 24 with William Byron, and then Darian Grubb, who is the crew chief for the 24 right now, will be promoted to technical director in an executive leadership role at Hendrick Motorsports. This Kevin Mendering, I'm hearing nothing but great things about what he's doing down at Junior Motorsports. He's been a Hendrick guy for a very long time, a Chevy guy for like 15, 20 years. So he's not a Johnny-come-lately to the sport.
I think he's been with Elliott Sadler.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Elliott's going and taking a step back from the full-time racing duties. So it's a good point at him, for him, because he's going to be the crew chief for a full-time driver somewhere.
The next big news that came out, everyone was expecting it. We got a couple of pieces that we didn't exactly know, that we hadn't speculated on yet. Levine Family Racing held a press conference on Wednesday to announce they will be switching to Toyota. They will be joining the Joe Gibbs Racing Alliance operation. And Matt DiBenedetto will be their driver. There'd been some rumors as far as who was going to pilot that number 95. DiBenedetto announced a few weeks back that he would not be returning to his operation. We kind of thought maybe that would be he would be looking for a new ride and didn't expect it to be coming so quickly. But good news for him. That's a great thing. Matt DiBenedetto is a good driver, and I think that a year or two behind the wheel of a good organization with good alliance, and we know that Joe Gibbs Racing has a good alliance operation.
Well, I'm telling you right now, the alliance they're going to have with this 95 car ain't the same alliance they had with Furniture Row.
Maybe not. Maybe
they learned a lesson.
Maybe not. They didn't learn the Hendrick Motorsports lesson when they signed that alliance. But
they fed King Kong.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see what happens with that. But Matt DiBenedetto will pilot the number 95 Camry for Toyota and TRD and Levine Family Racing at the Daytona 500 for 2019. So good move for him. I think we're going to see good things out of Matt.
And Levine is also even tossing the idea around of putting a second team together.
That's great news. With the alliance like that, I know we saw it last year with the 77 at Furniture Racing. They were trying to get a second car operation, and we see Starcom Racing every once in a while run a second car, because if you can get a second car in there and you can keep the car clean, you can make a little bit extra money, which is critical for these guys to have a successful operation.
Oh, it's the cars you add, it becomes cheaper by the car. Mm-hmm. It costs you, $250,000 to run a race with one car. Well, it might only cost you $400,000 to run two cars. I don't know the exact number, so I'm just throwing those out there. But the more cars you add into the mix, the cheaper it actually gets.
Hunt Brothers Pizza, I'm hungry all of a sudden, announces they will be the title sponsor and the primary sponsor for Kevin Harvick and his number 4 Cup Series team over at Stewart-Haas Racing. Hunt Brothers has been a big sponsor of Kevin for a long time. They were a primary sponsor with his Truck Series operation, and now they have stepped up, and they're going to be the primary sponsor for the number 4 at Stewart-Haas Racing.
Well, and one of the interesting parts of this is I really don't know if pizza sales are through the roof or if the market has just backed up and they're not paying a whole bunch more money. They're just getting more for their money because of the way the sport is right now.
In their press release, they said they are the largest pizza supplier for convenience stores.
Could be.
Now, around here, we've got Casey's Pizza. So I've never seen a Hunt Brothers around here. You've been around the roads a lot more than me.
Yeah, but where we're traveling, Nebraska and Iowa, everything's Casey's, and you get down to the Kansas City area, it's QT. QT Pizza is pretty decent.
Yeah.
So
I'd be interested. Apparently, their big shtick is that they don't charge extra for extra toppings. You want extra toppings? We'll throw it on there for you.
Good for them.
That's going to do it for today's show. If you missed any part of it, we will post the show on YouTube today at 10 o'clock, about 10 o'clock, and we will share it on Facebook. Want to say a big thank you to Joey Sparano of DirtShirtsUSA.com. Don't forget, those Bob Kazitsky t-shirts are available for $15. That includes tax. Shipping is a little bit extra. You can get them until noon today, until the end of today. Not really an exact timeline. He's going to be placing that order tomorrow morning, so make sure you get your pre-order in today before those shirts are going to go. You got to believe I'm going to be getting me one. Those are really, really cool looking shirts. DirtShirtsUSA.com again for more information on that. And thanks to Bobby Earnhardt, who's going to be down at Kansas Speedway in the number 66 Xfinity Series car.
And we'll be coming to you live next week.
Thanks to Archer Purdue Auto Sales. We'll be live at Kansas Speedway. Don't have all the interviews confirmed yet, but you better believe we'll sit down with a couple of drivers. Landon Castle is going to be one of them. We're going to have Starcom Racing as your brother and Dale Smith are going to be going around doing our Crewman for a Day contest along with both of their guests. And so we'll sit down with Landon Castle and Derek Cope and kind of talk about their operation a little bit. How year over year, we met them for the first time last year in Kansas. They were great operation. They're great people, really, really nice people. And I think you could tell they're in it for the long haul. And I'd be interested to see what year over year looks like for them because now they're not running just one operation back around 37th, 38th. They're now running 2 cars, and one of them's up in the top 30 consistently. So we'll talk to those guys. Plus, we're trying to secure a couple more interviews with some of the big boys. We'll do it live next weekend from Kansas Speedway, thanks to Archer Purdue Auto Sales. And we'll do it again all next weekend. Make sure you join us. Thanks again, everybody, for joining us today on The Front Stretch. Presented by Joe's Karting on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.
Every race car driver has run into the same problem. It's well past normal parts store closing hours, but you need that one to finish your car. The guys who brought you White Knuckle Racing by the River bring you Joe's Karting Racing Parts and Tire Store. Open until 10 p.m. Monday to Thursday and open until 11 p.m. on Friday and Saturday. A parts store that fits your after-hours schedule, and you can turn a few laps at Joe's Karting while you're waiting for your part to get pulled from their warehouse. joeskarting.com for more information.
The official watering hole of the Front Stretch has you covered any day of the week with the best wings, great burgers, and amazing steaks. Each weekday from 4 to 6 is Happy Hour, featuring $1 off draft and well drinks plus $4 Luberitas. Mondays are Kids Night. Tuesdays are all-you-can-eat wings for $12.95, and the lube even delivers to the Council Bluffs area. Like Quaker Steak and Lube Council Bluffs on Facebook for a full list of weekly events.
Get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Mid-America Drive, Council Bluffs.
This has been the Front Stretch Radio Show, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. To contact Dan or Dirk, find them on Facebook at The Front Stretch or email them at frontstretch590@gmail.com. If you missed any part of today's show or want to hear a previous show, subscribe to the Joe's Karting YouTube page, where you can find almost every Front Stretch show.